So I want to talk very briefly about my personal story, how I got into body language. A lot of people ask me, how in the world did you get into body language? So I've been an entrepreneur for 10 years. And with my first company, I always felt like I loved researching, I loved having my different ideas, but I had no idea how to interact with people. I say I'm a recovering awkward person because whenever I would pitch, I just felt so uncomfortable. Like I didn't know where to put my hands, I didn't know how to act, I didn't know how to hold my body, and I was always uncomfortable, especially in social situations, business situations, networking events. I just never felt quite like myself. No matter how much I prepared, I never felt like I was really confident. And so my tipping point was I had a really important pitch, and I had been trying to get this meeting with a VIP. He was a really influential guy in my industry. I've been Twittering him and emailing him and asking contacts to get me in touch with him. It took me like 6 months to get a meeting with him. And I finally got a coffee. He said, meet me at this coffee shop. I'll give you 20 minutes. I was like, I'll take it. So I prepared forever for this presentation. I had it like perfectly memorized. I had it perfectly scripted. I had practiced it with everyone. And I got there. And I met him, and I gave the presentation. And I will never forget, I ended it, and I said, so would you like to work together? And he went, your 20 minutes is up. He was like, no thanks. And like, my heart just dropped. And I said to him, I was like, is there any feedback you can give me? Like, is there something that I can do to make it better so that what can I do? And he sat there, and he was like, your ideas are pretty good, but you just have no presence. That's what he said. And for me, that was a huge tipping point. And I was like, something has to change. Like, something is not working here. That he would say that my ideas are good, but he still won't hire me, that my presence, I was like, what is presence? I don't even know what that is. So I started to research online, books, confidence, influence boosters, and I stumbled upon body language, and it just was like, this is an ingredient I had never even considered. So I started to research it. I got obsessed with it, got all my certifications. It took about 2 years to get all my certifications and really dive deep into it. And I noticed that there was a lot of changes happening at that same time. As I was working on my body language, as I was working on my nonverbal, I realized that my business was easier. It was easier for me to go into networking events. It was easier for me to pitch. I noticed it was also picking up. People were asking for my business card more often. Like I would meet them and they'd say, oh, I'd love your business card. That had never happened to me before. And so I got a pitch with a Fortune 500 company. And this was about 2.5 years after that first meeting. And so I walked in, and it was a big group of people around a boardroom table. And I walked in with my computer, and I saw the guy that I had met with 2.5 years ago. And I had no idea he was going to be in this room. He's sitting at the table, and I was like, do I leave? Like, he's already seen this pitch. And the pitch wasn't all that different from 2.5 years ago, but I was different. The way I was living, I was like, what if he doesn't notice the difference? So I was like, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to go for it. And so I got in there. I gave the pitch. It lasted for an hour. Amazing. And afterwards, he came up to me, and he started asking me all these questions. And I was like, do you remember me? Like, from 2.5 years ago? Like, you heard this pitch. He looked at me, and I was like, at the coffee shop, like 20 minutes. And he was like, you're like a different person. I didn't even remember you. And that was sort of the breaking point in my journey where I was like, okay, like I need to teach this. Like that was when I actually decided that I wanted to make body language my full-time business, because I realized he had not even remembered me before. And so that is how I got into body language. For me, it was my missing ingredient. And that's when I decided to, this was 6 years ago, dedicate myself full-time to sharing that with others. That is how I got into this work.